To start with, we're back with another Syundei title. I won't dwell on this too long because if you've seen my other reviews of their work, you already know that I'm not a fan of this art style. It's a very consistent and clean style, and it's a perfect representation of that classic manga style, but I personally just don't like it. As usual, this perfectly highlights the lighthearted and comedic tone of the series, so it's hard to fault it for anything. This artist is incredibly skilled in what they do, and this title is no exception. Now on to the story. Being that this is the sequel to Go For It Nakamura, it is another episodic volume with each chapter being somewhat self-contained from the next. I said it last time and I'll say it again, I don't care for this storytelling format. I don't mind it when it's an after story or side story, especially if the couple is already together, but I don't like it when it's the main story and the couple hasn't even gotten together yet. I do think it works well for the comedic aspect, as it allows for very dynamic settings and situations. Still, it's a bit frustrating when you're looking for some progress between Hirose and Nakamura. And with that said, this is where I talk about the worst part of this volume. We still don't get any romantic payoff. This was a huge gripe for me in the previous entry, and it's an even bigger issue this time. At least in the prior volume, we get a semi-confession with Nakamura asking Hirose to be his friend, but in this volume we end up with a bit of a cliffhanger and a goofy conclusion to a random episodic plot. The last official chapter in this volume is Nakamura bemoaning the intense exercise regimen he inadvertently enlisted in, which is so weak compared to the previous entry's ending. I was really hoping for some significant movement on the romance this time around, but that didn't happen, which makes this even more frustrating than the previous entry. But what I dislike even more than the ending is the icky setup of the teacher being Nakamura's rival for Hirose's love. This art style makes all the young characters look very young to me, especially the ones with big rounded eyes like Hirose. So seeing Hirose and the teacher having a weirdly flirty conversation is so icky to me. Granted, this is from Nakamura's perspective, so it could very well be his own jealousy coloring the situation, but it doesn't make me feel that much better. There is a chapter where Nakamura is jealous of Hirose acting intimately with a fellow classmate, which I felt made much more sense and was much more palatable in turn, yet we end up with a full-grown adult, their teacher no less, as the ultimate rival, and that's how the volume ends. It's my least favorite thing that could have happened.